Hi, Steve.
Hey, how
What's
are you?
up? I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good as well. I'm having a pretty productive day, which is always good. Where are you? Are you in BC?
Yeah, I'm actually in my dorm room in Squamish at Quest University. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So you back
Yeah.
studying again.
I'm back studying for my school runs on a month-to-month basis. So we basically do one class at a time and we do it for a month and then we're finished that entire course. And so it's really convenient for me because I can come and go kind of as I please and I can do a month on here, a month on there, and take as much time off in between courses as I want.
Yeah, which obviously you are going to need to do every now and then. People will probably know you from your acting, like, we know you from Lost in Space and Riverdale, but now you're moving into music as well. Which of those passions kind of caught your attention first? Which interested you?
It's definitely music, because music interests me since I was a baby. I think I think it was just kind of, some people are always just doodling on a piece of paper. I never ever have doodled like my whole life, but I've always, even as a baby, have always been like humming tunes, drumming my hands, and just it's kind of just comes out of me.
You've always had the rhythm.
Yeah, or I tried to at least.
So, what's your earliest memory of music? Do you remember like any particular time in your life where music really grabbed your attention?
The first thing I ever wanted to like, I remember when I was 3, I used to walk around the house with 2 chopsticks, and I used to pretend to like conduct symphonies,
Wow.
because I thought that the conductor had 2 batons. I was only like 10 when I learned that there's usually just one.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I used to do that all the time, and I
Because
think
most 3 year olds, if they got two sticks like that, would probably just want to hit stuff and pretend they were drumming, not conducting a symphony.
yeah, I did some of that as well. We made swords and bows and everything in the neighborhood. That was fun. But with music, I mean, my parents always like it was like a normal thing growing up to go to the symphony, and in my city they had things for kids like Symphony Splash and all these different giant classical music performances for kids. So I think that's probably my earliest memory. I mean, I started playing the violin when I was 4, so something must have pointed me
Wow.
towards that instrument. So I think it's probably my experience with the orchestra.
And was this when you were in Seattle?
This was when I actually had moved to Victoria. So I was in Seattle for the first 3 years of my life, but I
Okay.
don't really remember those.
When do you remember hearing an album or a band that really grabbed your attention and it wasn't maybe something that your parents were listening to, but it was more of your own thing?
Mm. It's probably the music my sister was listening to. Um, I mean, I remember listening to like Justin Timberlake when I was pretty young, like Summer Love, that song. I remember listening to the High School Musical soundtrack on road trips when I was like 7 or 8 a lot. Green Day, American Idiot, that
Yeah.
album.
High School Musical and Green Day are pretty different from each other.
Yeah. um, and yeah, I listened to that Green Day album. I listened to Nelly Furtado, but my sister's music that was kind of more, the alternative indie kind of stuff started to grab my attention when I was around 9 or 10, and that was like City and Color, Death Cab for Cutie, Stars, Metric.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of bands that I really love as well.
yeah.
And one of those bands I'm going to be seeing in a few weeks, which is Stars.
Oh hell yeah, that's awesome. They're Montreal based,
They
aren't
are
they?
Montreal based, which is where we are.
Mhm.
So yeah, you mentioned that you started playing the violin when you were 4. How do you still play the violin now? Did you keep it up?
I didn't really keep it up. I played it until I was about 12. And I always think I'll revisit it. I mean, I can pick one up. I somehow my fingers remember like a whole bunch of the songs I learned back then. It obviously doesn't sound anywhere near as good as I did when I was 12, which sounds funny. But yeah, I always imagine that I'll pick it up again. I would love to bring a fiddle out during one of my concerts live on stage and just start playing it.
Yeah. So did you shift to another instrument when you stopped playing violin?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it wasn't like a concrete shift, but I guess it was just a bit of a loss of interest when I was 12. I started playing guitar when I was about 11. Um, my dad's friend Bruce taught me how to play the bridge of all these things that I've done by the Killers. You know, I got
Right. Yeah.
soul, but I'm not a soldier. And that teaches you like three of the four chords that I used for the next like 4 years of my songwriting. And so that's yeah. It was kind of all I ever really needed to learn on the guitar to kind of get to where I am now.
And with the music that you're making now, are you playing guitar on that? Are you playing any other instruments on that?
Some of the songs I play guitar and some I don't. Typically with like rhythm guitar or electric guitar. Um, that was Alex Nolan, and she's the lead guitarist for Cyndi Lauper. And so, I wasn't about to say, step aside, I'm playing this. But for some of the more stripped down, just like me and the guitar songs or finger picking and stuff, I like to play them so that they kind of have my energy in them. But I did write and arrange all the songs, and
Yeah. This EP that you have coming out in October, it is called Light a Match, Then Run.
yeah.
Now, most of the time I try and avoid asking people about titles specifically, but tell me where that title came from, what it means to you.
Yeah, the title "Light a Match Then Run." I mean, we had all these. We were originally going to call the EP. It was kind of under the temporary name "Love" because all the songs centered around the theme of love. And then we were thinking, what if it kind of started off? We had this photo that's going to be the EP cover where I just looked completely just like exhausted, and I felt like it really encapsulated the feeling of like love lost. And
Right.
so the EP kind of starts off happy and in love and ends, sad and with the relationship in the past.
Okay.
And then the first song, which is called Blackberry, one of the main lines is "Light a match, then run." And like a day before I had to finalize the EP cover. I just realized that that's like a perfect "light a match, then run" is the perfect metaphor for falling in and then out of love. And so that's where the title comes from.
Okay. So if somebody had never heard your music before,
Mm-hmm.
do you have like an elevator pitch of how you would describe it?
Yeah, I'd say it's um equal parts like indie, folk, and pop. Um, I think I have kind of like catchy mainstream elements while not kind of going too far towards them. I really like to keep keep the rawness and the authenticity there, and the intimacy. And I write all my own music, so yeah, lyrics are a big part of who I am as an artist.
If you think about other artists, is there somebody whose career you would like to have a career similar to? Because some
Maybe,
people some people want the like the credibility, some people want the success. Different people have different things from what they want from a music career. So who do you look up to
yeah.
and think that's kind of how I want this to go?
I look up to Sufjan Stevens, because I think that even though he's not the most like celebrity name, it's still so many people know him, and his music and his artistry is so widely respected. Um, Ed Sheeran, I mean, just kind of like an acoustic and pop powerhouse. I've been getting really into Taylor Swift also recently, like especially her two most recent albums, which I think are
Yeah,
just the works of one of the greats American songwriters.
I agree.
Yeah, and so I'd really just like to be respected, like my have my art kind of respected as solid work.
Okay. So let's go back to when you were a teenager, which with
Mhm.
you isn't that long ago. But
Yeah.
what were you listening to like in your school years? What albums make you think about that time of your life?
Mm. I mean, for me, grade 9 was The Sticks, Mother Mother. Listen to that album a lot. It's so good. Grade 11 was BEIRUT, the
Nice.
Riptide. That's one of my all-time favorite albums. Grade 12, I listened to An Awesome Wave by Alt J. I mean, An Awesome Wave is just it's just awesome. It's such a perfect album.
It's
Hmm.
it's it's really different to anybody else as well. It's hard to think of bands that sound like Alt J, right?
Yep, that's true. They definitely inspired a lot of bands that came after. I think they inspired Glass Animals a lot, actually.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mhm.
So, what would you say is the album that you've listened to the most in your life so far?
Probably, probably An Awesome Wave, I would have to say, or Beirut, the Riptide.
Okay. Have
Yeah,
you seen either of those acts live?
yeah, I've seen them both. I've been lucky enough to see them both live, actually. Yeah, I saw Beirut in Portland, actually, and they had all the horns on stage and everything. It was just great.
Nice.
And then also John Mayer, Battle Studies. I really
Right.
like that one. Yeah, that's kind of the album that I discovered John Mayer with. So
Because somebody else who I asked that question mentioned Continuum, coincidentally.
that's a great
Uh,
album.
yeah. So what is it about John Mayer that you like?
I think uh, pretty much none of the songs are bad. Every song is good. Every song is like really well thought out and kind of perfected and crafted, and the lyrics are clever and deep and make you think, and it just has a lot of feeling behind it.
Nice. So I believe you've traveled a lot. I read somewhere that you've been to like 35 countries, right?
Hmm.
Was that on your own or was that with family?
It's almost all with my family. I'm really, really lucky. My family has been fortunate enough to like travel a lot and also is super just open and experienced with traveling. My parents met in Japan like 30 years ago or something when they were just teaching English there in
Right.
their 20s. And then my sister and I and my family, we moved back to Japan for a year when I was 6. And yeah, we've been to Tanzania, Peru, India a few times, around Europe. It's been really special.
So when you're traveling, are you the kind of person that's listening to music while you're traveling?
Yeah, actually in Vietnam, um, there was like the best music in bars and in restaurants and in streets. Like it was unreal. The musicians there are wildly talented. Sometimes you'd be just walking down the street and you'd hear this insane cover band and you'd think they were playing like recorded material, but it was just a live band right there in the corner of the cafe.
Yeah, I love Vietnam. I've been there as well.
Yeah.
It's an incredible country. I always recommend people try and visit that part of the world if they can because it's
Hmm.
it's just so interesting and the people are incredible in that country as well.
Yeah.
But when you're on planes and stuff like that, are you in your headphones then listening to music,
I mean, usually I'm watching the seatback movies.
taking notes?
Yeah. Just passing the time, and it's so exciting because now there's like 3,000 movies on every
Yeah.
flight.
There's
So
almost too many. It's like you have to kind of pick one, but you always feel like maybe you're missing out on
hmm.
something better, right?
Yeah, often you'll watch the first like 10 minutes of one, and you'll be like, nah, actually I want to watch that other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you a soundtrack guy? Do you like soundtracks to movies? Considering
Yeah.
you have feet in both worlds.
Yeah, I like Alexandre Desplat. Yeah, it does a lot of work for Wes Anderson. Does most of the Wes Anderson soundtracks actually. So soundtracks like Fantastic Mr. Fox or The Grand Budapest Hotel, those are so calming and peaceful. And then I mean the Inception soundtrack is awesome.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
classic.
Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean, stuff like that.
How do you normally listen to music? Do you buy physical formats or is it almost always streaming?
I have a vinyl collection of about 20 records. But I'm not home most of the time,
Yeah.
so I haven't actually gotten to use it that much in recent years, but I used it a lot in high school. Yeah, so I guess it's mostly streaming.
And do you tend to listen to albums in their entirety or do you just listen to playlists or just kind of jump around?
I definitely listen to I like to put on an album front to back. I mean,
Right.
it's definitely not what I do all the time, I'll if I'm just walking to the cafeteria at my school, I'll just put on some song I want to listen to. But I'm definitely someone who does appreciate going in and having that experience as intended by the artist.
Yeah. So you've at the moment you're releasing your EP, which is your debut EP.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel in the weeks running up to that coming out? Especially because people know you from the acting. It must be like you opening up yourself and going, this is something else I do. What do you think? It must be quite nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah, it's really exciting because I'm glad to have like with the EP there's 6 tracks. 3 of them have already been released, but there's 3 brand new tracks. And so it's I'm just excited to get like this new material out there, this new variety, and people can really take a listen who are interested in me because right now my 3 songs that I have out, they're all kind of in different genres.
Hmm.
And then these 3, you know, we'll play back into some of those genres that I've already kind of put out. And so I'm excited to see where the fans kind of flock to.
Yeah. And how do you choose the ones that you're going to release first? Like, do you deliberately, you said they're all quite different. Is that a deliberate thing to kind of, so that people are curious about what the rest of the material's like?
Yeah, it's equal parts experimentation to see, you know, what catches on, and also it's to make a statement, I think. I want to be the type of artist that is allowed to, you know, release different sounding stuff. And so I kind of want to set that precedent in the beginning so that
Yeah,
I
right.
don't brand myself too much as, you know, just a folk artist or just a, you know, so
And are you deliberately making music that you feel like you can play live to?
um it wasn't I didn't so much have that in mind as I was recording. I think that for me that kind of comes later when we're planning the live show and we're like, all right, how do we make this sound great live?
So have you started thinking about that yet?
Yeah, I mean, I had to do a few live performances, just me and the guitar. Like I did a 25-minute long set on CBC radio, and even just figuring out like acoustic versions of my songs was so fulfilling.
What do you get out of music that you don't get out of acting?
I think music can be a lot more personal because I'm the one kind of in charge of the art, you know, so I get that fulfilling experience of putting my feelings into words and melodies, and then even if I was feeling terrible before, it's like now I have this exciting phrase and melody that gives me serotonin to sing and makes me proud. And so there's definitely that. I mean, it's just so natural to me. So it's cool that I'm working on making it my job because, you know, it's just so fun.
And does your acting ability play a role in the music? Do you ever feel like you kind of creating a bit of a character with it?
Yeah, definitely. Like in the booth, in the vocal booth, recording vocals, I'll really try to like just do kind of the same stuff I do with acting, just kind of like really ground into the moment, into the mood, be present with, you know, the story that I'm trying to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think acting has definitely helped with that experience wise.
Yeah. And are you somebody that's listening out for new music? Do you pay attention to what's going on all the time?
Yeah, I'm actually always watching for the past 3 years I've been watching the top 50 charts on Spotify. I check them every week at least. I don't necessarily like everything that's on there, but I don't think anyone likes everything that's on there. But yeah, I definitely check those out. I listened to all of Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. I re-listened to it the other day. Totally holds up. It's really good.
Is there any artists that you've discovered recently that you're excited about that maybe people wouldn't have heard about?
Yeah, there's an artist called Jess Banko. I think she's out of Toronto. I heard this sample of of her song on of her song Sad World by Jess Banko on Instagram. And it's just there's this so there's all these like young singer-songwriters, I think, that are coming up right now in 2021 in this age where music production is just, you know, so incredible, right? But you still
Yeah.
want to maintain this like intimate stripped down performance of just maybe you and a guitar, right? And the listener, but how do you augment that? And I found there's been a lot of artists that have kind of figured out ways to like sonically kind of modernize the singer-songwriter experience while still
Right.
keeping it stripped back like that. And just I'll just play you the sample. This totally caught my ear. It's so lush. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
sounds
just,
beautiful. She's got a great voice.
yeah, and so I'm excited about that. Clinton Kane. Have you heard about Clinton Kane?
No.
Oh, it's a singer-songwriter. He's really, really starting to blow up.
Okay. Have you heard the Halsey
Right.
album?
I didn't listen. No, I haven't heard it yet.
That's quite interesting because obviously she's kind of dabbled in the pop world, but then she's been recording with the guys from Nine Inch Nails, and they deliberately kind of went a slightly different route from what she was expecting. And I think they've made a really interesting album together. It still sounds like Halsey, but it's still got that kind of edge that you might expect
Yeah,
from the Nine Inch Nails collaboration. So yeah,
that sounds cool. Yeah, I heard I'm Not a Woman, I'm a God.
yeah, the whole album. It's a really diverse album. You should definitely go and check that out as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
her song that's almost like country infused, the one that goes, I'm so glad I never ever had a baby with you. That
yeah.
Yeah, I love that production and stuff. She's really diverse. Like she's really diverse in her music, and she does it all so well.
What's next for you? Obviously, you've got the EP coming out, and then what have you got happening after that?
I during quarantine, I linked up with this awesome producer, who's produced for like David Guetta and Nicki Minaj and all these like super big names. Except he has all this pop experience, but he's super super grounded and has like a really deep appreciation for kind of like organic raw music. And so him and I just had this insane synergy where we'd work for like 11 hours a day and it would literally feel like 3 hours. So I'm actually, after I take this course I'm taking right now, which is on the scientific revolution and whether it actually happened, I'm gonna fly to Portugal and work with him on some music.
Nice, more traveling.
Yes, of course, my EP, which is out October 8th.
Of course, yeah, we're not going to forget that. Well, I wish you all the best with it. It's an exciting chapter in your life for sure, and it sounds like you've had quite a few exciting chapters already. First, you're only 22, right?
23 actually. Yeah.
23. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish you all the best with whatever it is you pursue. It sounds like you're just gonna make the most of every day. So that's I applaud you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was a wonderful conversation. Thank
Yeah, I
you so
really
much.
enjoyed chatting with you. So enjoy the rest of your day, and maybe we'll see you live sometime.
Thank you. Take care, Steve.
All right. Bye, Jay.
Peace.